So let's pray together. Now may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and Redeemer. Amen. So, the story of the 10 lepers who were healed and only one came back to give thanks. I'm kind of booming a bit. Is that all right? Can you hear me clearly? For most of us, when life gets uncomfortable, when things don't go our own way, or the way we expect them to, we begin seeking relief. We want the pain to stop and the situation to be changed. And all too often we look for quick, easy solutions. Something that will make us comfortable again and we can get on with life as it was before. And that's the life of a leper. That's life at skin level. One day you are clean. Life is as expected. You have work, you have friends, you have family. You're part of the faith community, part of your neighbourhood. And then the changes begin. The sudden loss of sensation at the end of the fingers. The inability to feel a cooking pan is boiling hot. And so everything changes. And the next day you are unclean. And for the 10 lepers in today's gospel reading, that meant no family, no friends except each other, no work, no temple. They were physically shunned, they were physically excluded. They were kept at the very farthest edges of society. They had to wear shabby rags for clothes. Their hair was a mess and had to be left uncombed. They lived on the very edges of society. And if anyone started coming close, they had to shout out, "Unclean, unclean." That's how it is if you were a leper. No wonder they wanted to go back to the way it was before, when they were clean. But they would settle for comfort. From a distance they cry out, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." We can only imagine what they wanted. And they'd learned to shout loudly for fear of not being heard. Maybe they hoped for just a piece of bread, some water, a blanket. Maybe they just wanted to hear a kind word. Maybe they simply wanted to be seen, and if only for a moment, feel alive, feel real, feel like a human being. There's nothing comfortable whatsoever about their lives. At skin level they are living, and at skin level each day of their lives is spent searching for some relief. We've probably all had times like that, when we just wanted to be relieved of the pain, the difficulties, the awkwardness. We just did not feel comfortable. We may not have lived under the same conditions as the lepers of Jesus' time, but we could each tell stories of times when we were just not comfortable in our own skin, when we were at some place or in some group or some social gathering and we just didn't feel at home. That's the leprosy of today. But as so often with Jesus' stories, his life and his healing work, we need to dig. We need to go that much deeper. Because today's leprosy is not a medical condition or a legal status. It's a spiritual condition. It's leprosy of the heart. Its symptoms have nothing to do with our skin. And here I was going to have some pictures, but the technology's failed me, so I'll just have to describe them to you, and I'll show you pictures another time. So these things inward are things like perfectionism. We have to get it right. It can't be wrong. We can't tell anybody we're not doing it perfectly. There's things like greed and sadness and anger and pride and just simply bored with our lives and our circumstances, and gossip, talking about others, the need for control or being approved of, fear, being judgmental of ourselves and each other, restlessness, somewhere else will always be better, excessive busyness. We dare not stop because we'll hear voices inside. Grudges, prejudice, jealousy, condemnation, just simply indifferent. Addictions. And it's not only a drug addiction, they're all sorts of addictions. And all those conditions we've just seen, I've just listed, distort how we see and relate to God, the world and others and even ourselves. And leprosy keeps life at skin level. And as long as we deal with all those at the level of skin, seeking cleanness rather than wholeness, we can never be made truly well. So we settle for being comfortable. We seek relief rather than wholeness. We desire something from Jesus more than we desire Jesus himself. That's where the lepers in today's Gospels lived. 9 of the 10 lepers will just settle. They're clean. That's fine. I'll just go back to the way I was. But there's always that one, the one who's able to look below the surface to see more than new skin. One leper, the Samaritan, the foreigner, looks past the exterior illusions of new skin. He understands that healing is an interior condition. It's more about the heart than the skin. If he wants the healing and wholeness Jesus offers, he'll have to turn round and go back in a totally different direction. He won't be able to go back to the way things were. He goes in a direction different from the other 9. And he comes back to Jesus and praise God. He wasn't thankful. He was thankful. He wasn't shy about it. He was public and he shouted loud. So 9 lepers celebrate new skin and go back to the way they were. And 1 leper celebrates the creator and restorer of new skin. 9 lepers hear the priest say, "You are clean." 1 leper hears Jesus say, "Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well." And Jesus offers us life, more than life just at skin level. He desires more for us than we often desire for ourselves. And what Jesus does for 1, he offers to the 9, and you and me, and countless other Christians throughout the world who've headed in a different direction. He says, we're not 10 made well. Were not 10 made clean? Where are the other 9? Where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? And that's not a rebuke. It's an invitation. And Jesus invites us to come and be made whole from the inside. Why don't we give it a try this week and see what happens? Amen.